All right, welcome back to episode 12 of the YMAO Podcast. It is good to be back. And yeah, I am exhausted. It is a Sunday. It is 10:30 p.m. and I had a fun weekend, a few days away from the house, which is why I didn't film a podcast episode yesterday, but another day where I'm happy that I don't have a set schedule. Um, I know I can record them and post them as videos, but oh, my audio. Hopefully that's better. Um, the intro's gonna be might be a little bit of a low volume, so my bad. But yeah, we are back. We are good, and yeah, I'm happy that I don't have a consistent schedule, and I'm happy that I time manage the way that I do, because if I did not, then I would feel so demoralized for missing a day, or even 2 days now. And I've just learned that if I miss a day, it's all good and I can just move on. It's a very good mentality to have, just so that you don't strike yourself out just because you missed a day because you were doing other stuff, right? Um, I think that's something that I want to chat about a little bit. I feel like people will be annoyed at themselves or be upset or put themselves down if they don't do things in a certain day. Like if you miss your laundry or you don't do your homework or you just don't get around to doing something. But um, lots of times life will throw a lot of things at us and we won't get around to everything that we're doing because we're busy prioritizing other stuff. And that's normal, right? And I think it needs to be normalized a little bit more because, um, yeah, it's just not good to put yourself down over something like, I don't know, it seems a little silly like every time that I say it, but it's silly to put yourself down because you were busy working on other things, whether it's physical things like you had a job or something, or you you're doing something to work on your own mental health or whatever. Like you're figuring it out, you're trying to work through a problem and you don't have the mental focus in order to focus on the things that you actually want to focus on or be motivated enough. And sometimes you just have to give priority to the things that are kind of on your mind. If you are too burnt out to work on things, then you should prioritize your burnout. You should be aware and acknowledge that you don't have the energy, you don't have the capacity in order to do it. And then, sorry, my phone is distracting me. Let me put this down. Realize that you don't have the capacity to do it, and then you, oh my geez, um and then focus on the thing that will get you to that point faster. Focus on trying to get the capacity back, get your capabilities back, unblock yourself from what, like if you don't have enough energy, then take a nap and get your energy back, or drink coffee. Personally, I say take a nap. Studies have shown that taking a nap is just as effective as drinking coffee, and it's healthier and it's less money. Just saying. Hot take, or maybe a not so hot take because it's not hot. I don't drink coffee, so I don't drink coffee. I do a bunch of stuff. Every time people tell me like, "Hey, I need my coffee," I'm like, "Do you really need it?" Like, and lots of times people do it as part of their ritual, part of their habit, and in that way they do need it. Some people drink it for the taste, not hating on the coffee haters, just saying that there's another way of life. And if you're a tea drinker or you are a non-coffee drinker, such as myself, then kudos to you for living life in a world where coffee is widely accepted and we are the minority. Or it feels like I'm the minority. At least in the U.S., it feels that way. I feel like in other countries where tea is more prominent, maybe tea is more accepted, like in a lot of different ways, like hot tea or bubble tea. That's kind of what I'm thinking. But yeah, um, that is my spiel on prioritizing time. A little bit of a justification, I guess, for um, like maybe I'm a little defensive. Maybe I'm trying to justify why I wasn't able to post a podcast episode, or maybe I'm trying to tell all this stuff for myself because I want to be like, you know what, Joemer, it is okay that you didn't get around to the podcast episode. So yeah, I think it might have been a PSA to myself, but hopefully it also helps some people who might be feeling the same way too. Cool. So yesterday, I yesterday was Saturday film day. I feel like I've been making it a habit to also get sushi. So now I may refer to it as sushi Saturdays. It's a lot of money, to be honest, to spend money once a week to have sushi. But my justification is like, oh, well, like I'm in the city and I can't cook at home, so I guess I have to eat something, and so I'll eat sushi. But I think it's a flawed system. I think I end up spending anywhere from like $30 to $60 on one meal. And when I say it out loud, it seems a little ridiculous. So maybe I should try to do fast food, because fast food might be easier, quicker, and cheaper. Um, I mean, it definitely is cheaper, and quicker. But I guess I'm just in a craving mood because I don't get sushi enough, and I love sushi, and um, I don't know. I'm not a big spending person, and my friends have been telling me that I need to spend more money on myself. And so this has kind of been my way to explore more of the city, try new restaurants, um, just enjoy something that I really do enjoy having at least once a week. And it also made me think while I was having sushi by myself that I pay for every single date, and I take girls a lot of times to sushi. And then I think about what it would be like to order, but like pretty much double it, and how it costs a lot of money. Like one date costs a lot of money, at least for where I'm at in life, like $70 for one date, or like $80. Like I don't mind it, but if you do it enough times, it just kind of adds up. And for my place in life, I am not at a place where I can say I can comfortably throw $80 into a date, especially if you're seeing someone more than once a week, which I feel like when people do date, that's like the normal. Like you see someone anywhere from 1 to 3 times a week, maybe. Um, if you're, if you're trying to be healthy about it, in my opinion. And yeah, I was thinking like how I was like, man, this is a lot of money, and um, and that made me think about like, oh, like, am I really ready to date or to provide? Um, and I don't know if I am. And I don't think I don't know. I was thinking about like the taxi cab theory, which is the theory that guys will date to date until they find the one person um that they're ready to settle with, and they won't settle with somebody until they feel like they're ready to provide. So the idea behind it is it's kind of like a taxi cab where, you know, a guy won't be available until they like raise their hand and they call cab, which would be like the girl in this case, and they would just take the first cab that comes to them. Not to objectify, obviously, but um, yeah, it's kind of like they'll take the girl at the time that seems like a good option, kind of thing. Um, and that before that, guys will like make excuses as to like, oh, like I'm not dating this person because she was too much like this, or I don't date this person because I kind of didn't like this about her. When in reality, like in the theory, they have an insecurity that they can't really provide for the girl, and so they'll end things because at the end they'll feel like they don't have enough to sustain the relationship. Um, which I guess is kind of true. Like in general, if you have more money or if you're more financially stable, then you'll feel like you're able to keep the relationship going because you can handle it for longer. Where you can handle the consistent negative cash flow, from a financial standpoint. Like you're spending money on dates, you're spending money on getting gifts for the girl if you're a gift giver, or experiences or events to make the dating experience fun. And if you don't have the money for that, it's like, yeah, like, you're not having a fun time, you're not enjoying yourself, you're constantly thinking about if you have enough money to provide, but also to provide for yourself. And it all just kind of mixes to not give a good dating experience, to be honest. So I get it. Or I guess I get the sentiment behind the taxi cab theory. And it's been good for me because it's made me more picky towards choosing a girl. Like, I think I'm at a point where I can financially provide for a girl, but thinking about the price of things and also like little backstory, like I was dating for 3 months, I think, where I just kind of went crazy and went on dates everywhere. Not like crazy, but I went on dates pretty frequently. And at the end of the 3 months, I kind of just looked at my bank statement and was like, wow, like I spent 10K on dates like throughout the 3 months, and like that's a lot of money. Like, I have loans to pay off, and I did it for fun. I did it for the experience, and I wouldn't take any of it back. Had some great dates, had some not so great dates, and it's all part of the experience. But man, like, I think about that, and I think about just prioritizing myself more, giving myself more value, like realizing that I can use the money in a better way. Um, it's all just helped me to be more picky with the girl that I choose to spend time with, and also just how I spend my time in general, and giving myself more value as a person and being more confident to say that this money should go towards things that I actually care about. And if I'm just dating to date, it's like, yeah, it's fun, it's an experience, but you can also spend that money in a way where you get value back come around like a month or two out. If you spend time with friends or you spend time with family, that's time where you create memories that will last forever. But dates, in my opinion, they're fun. Maybe you get a physical romantic aspect out of it. Maybe you like get to spend time with a girl and it's enjoyable, or a guy if you're a girl or you're into guys. But sometimes it can be fleeting. Sometimes it like the emotions go away, and then do we really think about the memories of our dates? Sometimes it's a good story and it's great to have those stories, but eventually you have so many stories that like you can just kind of say like been there, done that, and kind of aim for a higher level connection. So, and I was trying to phrase it properly because I didn't want to end up sounding like I was like Love Island or a reality love TV show. But yeah, um I feel like nowadays I'm just trying to use my time more properly. And so it's less about the financial part and just making sure that I use my time and my money well. And I'm I think when I'm alone in the city and I'm having sushi, something that I've really been thinking about is like I do value my alone time and I have been liking it. I went on a solo date last Saturday and was filming, and that was kind of like why I just took myself to a restaurant by myself, because it was like super easy to do. But this second time around, like the first time around, people were already messaging me about how I didn't invite them, and then the second time around, it was kind of in the back of my mind that I could have invited them and I just chose not to. And um that it's actually super easy to invite people out and to just enjoy the day with people. I think part of it was because I knew I was going to see the same people later that night, so I was like, okay, let me just reserve my social energy. But I think it's like pick and choose your battles, right? Like if you need time to be alone, then do the solo date. And if you feel like you would benefit from being around people, or just kind of you have the social energy to do it, there's nothing wrong with taking like one or two people and just having a good time with them and enjoying the time. I think that the thing that I like, the reason why I defer to myself is because my friend groups can sometimes be a little bit big, and it's very easy to invite one person and one person will bring like five other people and it'll turn into a whole thing. And one of the things that I have been hating recently, just a big hater, is paying people back for like Venmo or Zelle from like eating, like so you don't have to split the check. I'm personally very good about it, but I hate putting my card down because not everyone else is good about it. And I have to have more confidence, I think, in my friends, in particular my friends, because that's usually who I split bills with. With my family, I take care of things. But my friends are actually really good about it too, and I need to give them more credit and just be okay with putting my card down, and knowing that they'll pay me back. Um, I I just like I think even if I don't put my card down though, like I end up doing work anyway. Like when we get the receipt, I'm usually the type of person to like start doing the math to split the bill. Um, I know one other person who is willing to do it, and shout out to him because he makes my life easier. But but if he's not there, then I'm the one to do it. And I hate doing the math and just sitting there with the calculator for like 20 minutes just trying to figure out like what everyone ate and how much they have to pay, and splitting things that people tried together and things that people didn't try together. It's just a hassle. Sometimes like the social aspect is fun because it gives a good experience, but it also has the drawbacks of taking a little bit more time. And I think when I film for Saturdays, I don't really want to add more work because I'm already filming. I'm already trying to go through footage. I'm already like walking around the city trying to figure things out, and I already have a lot on my plate is what I'm trying to say. So usually I'll just defer to myself. But yeah, so the sushi was good. The day was good. It was another day where I recharged, and for once, and I'm not gonna say for once in my life, but once for I haven't felt this way in a very long time, where I felt like I almost like recharged too much. At one point, I was in a park and I just like laid down, no blanket, no nothing, just laid down in the grass, and I fell asleep in the park. And I was still waiting, like trying to kill time. I was supposed to be meeting people at like 7 p.m. and it was like 5 p.m. So I had 2 hours, and I just, for 2 hours, was just laying in the grass, kind of watching the tree leaves and watching the sun and the clouds in the sky. And I think like at one point I was just like, I'm kind of bored. Like, I kind of want to do more things, but I don't have, like, I shouldn't be spending more money, which is a fallacy because I ended up spending way too much money at the bar, once I met people at 7, but it's fine. Like, it was a good time. Um, but it was just, I felt way, like, too zenned out. I felt like I stared at the sky for so long that I thought about all the things that I was trying to work through, and then at one point I just thought, I don't really want to think about my problems anymore. I'm like tired of it, and then my mind was just blank. And I remember, late night talks, huh? Oh my jeez. At one point I just had nothing in my brain, and I just started people watching, and I didn't even think anything about the people. I just thought, like, let me just take in everything around me, and let me just not think. And I think it was just really good for me to have another one of those days where I wasn't working. My phone was also at like 20%, and I needed to save the battery so that I can make sure that I had communication with the outside world, and made sure that I had Google Maps so I knew how to get back home and everything, or even to go to the place that I was going to meet people at. And so I had to put the phone down. I didn't have my phone. That was something that I was talking about in another podcast. Just put yourself in situations where you can't use your phone, and you'll just like start to have time and opportunities to just do things that you normally wouldn't be able to do. And sometimes it's thinking about a certain issue, but for me in particular, it was taking a break from everything and just not thinking. And I didn't think about work. I didn't think about all the things I had to do. I didn't think about anybody. I didn't even think about myself. and I was just able to enjoy wasting time, to be honest. Like, it felt like at one point I thought, I'm not really doing anything with my time. And then I thought, wow, this is actually really pretty, because I don't even remember the last time that I just wasted a Saturday, or I just like spent my time doing nothing. Like, not even like a negative, like not a negative or positive thing where I felt like, oh, I spent the day doing things I didn't want to do. I spent the day doing things that I did want to do. I just felt like I was just letting time go. And it felt like, I think one of the things I thought was that it felt so relaxing to just realize that as an overachiever, and because like even now in this podcast I talk about just valuing my time more properly and things like that, and then realizing, I think in that moment, that time is also something that time is just like made up. Like, time is like, there are days where I can just completely spend every single second working on things and putting in the work and like killing myself and putting like 12-hour work days, 15-hour work days, 18-hour work days, and then go play volleyball and then go to sleep and then do it again, and that's my entire week. And then there was just that moment on Saturday where I was in the park and I was relaxing, and I just thought, like, wow, like, this is the same amount of, like, this is the same time that I would use to do all these things, and at the same time I can use time in a way where it's in the complete opposite direction. It just made me, what it did was it resensitized me to how I use my time, and realizing how much 1 second is, how much 1 minute is, how much an hour is, and how, honestly, for how much I value time, how inefficient I was, and how much time I actually have. And I'm finding that more and more nowadays. Like, the more that I keep paying attention to how I use time, or even like when you sit down and you don't do anything, you realize how much an hour really is. Because I feel like when we're on social media and we're scrolling, or we're even on the internet, an hour goes by and we don't really realize it. And yeah, just do it. Just like literally do what I did. Go to a park, kill your phone battery so you don't have your phone, and just, you can sit there for what feels like an eternity, and then you will check your phone just to see what the time is, and not even 20 minutes have gone by. And like that, it was just like an insane experience to me to kind of feel that, and to realize that I could just be doing a lot more in life, to realize that lots of people, including myself at some points, have said, I don't have the time for this, but in reality, everybody is on the same 24 hours. There's someone out there that has it 10 times worse and is doing it 10 times better than you. And it is just, it's always good to know that there's room to grow, there's a direction to go in, there are things to improve, and I want to try to get there, I want to try to get there. I want to try to make every second count. Shout out to the bear, I guess. But it's true. It's like, I think just thinking about that motto, it's so easy to realize that we're letting seconds go by, and that we're not using like seconds correctly, or not correctly. Every second is used the right way, as long as you have the perspective for it. But I feel personally like I don't give myself the time to breathe, and I say that I have so much to do, so I don't give myself that time to take a break. But in reality, when I took that time in the park and I gave myself 2 hours and I was bored by 20 minutes, and I was done relaxing and breathing and letting my shoulders down and relaxing and taking a breather for 20 minutes, and it felt like 2 hours, when really it was 20 minutes, it made me realize that taking breaks are actually not as long as we say that it is. Um, Lots of times recharging takes longer because we're still doing something when we say we're going to recharge. Like we'll say, okay, like I'm so burnt out, I'm gonna relax, and what we'll do is instead of sleeping, we will watch a show or a movie, and and the thing is that that doesn't really recharge us because what our brain needs to actually recharge is to have that sense of that sense of being alarmed and being more aware and being awake and not sleeping and watching a show. It does take your mind off of things, but it doesn't really recharge you. It doesn't make you more awake, right? And I think realizing what actually recharges us physically, like biologically, what helps us recharge is different from the things that we actually do to say that we're going to be recharged. And that the things that we do, hobbies or de-stressors, those are more things that we do because they're hobbies or things that we enjoy doing. They're there for entertainment, right? It's good to realize that these things are important from an entertainment perspective. They're good to talk about with friends or to socially be like, oh my God, did you watch the new episode? Whatever. But they're the things that we do to de-stress, the things that we do to recharge are not recharging habits. They're entertainment habits. And I think realizing that is like the first thing, at least for me, to distinguish what actually will help me be more productive if that's what I'm trying to do, and helps delineate what I'm doing in order to just be social or to have fun, right? Like I think it's important to not mix the two things up, and oftentimes we will mix things up and take things that we do to entertain to say that we're relaxing. It's like in this very simple aspect, we'll say like, oh, like work is really stressing me out, I'm gonna hang out with people. But like work, like I have to spend time with my friends, like I need to recharge. But spending time with friends isn't really recharging, right? Like it's more social energy, it's more fun, and it's more entertaining, but it doesn't recharge us. So yeah, I feel like I have to do a better job at figuring that out, and I'm starting to, and realizing that it's making a big difference, to know what I actually need versus what I want. And it has helped me to be productive, to say, okay, I need to sleep. What I don't need is this TV show, because this TV show is not going to help me. This TV show does not get me to the next point that I want to be in life. In the short span, it's like, okay, like, is me watching this show going to help me write some code in an hour? And lots of times it would be like, no, obviously not, dumbass. Like, it's not going to, like, this show isn't going to help inspire you or motivate you to do the work that you need to do. So just thinking in that aspect has been helping me in the short term, and hopefully I'll try to implement it more so that it kind of becomes second nature to some point where I don't even question what are the habits I need to do to recharge. I just know, oh, like, oh, my brain is tired, like, okay, I'm gonna go take a nap. Or, oh, my brain is tired, like, I'm gonna go to the park or whatever. um and like, oh, like, I need to work, okay, I'm gonna do this because this is what I need to do. I'm trying to get to that point where my schedule just kind of feels more like a routine. And the reason why it's good to, like, some people don't like routine because they're like, oh, it feels like I'm day in, day out. I'm so I'm so tired of doing the same thing. It's so monotonous. It's so boring. But the thing is that when you have a routine, the best thing about a routine is that you can stop thinking about the small little things. Like, you don't have to worry about what time you need to have breakfast, what time you need to have lunch. You don't have to worry about when you're supposed to work. You can just focus on doing, and you can focus on what you're supposed to be, like, what you're supposed to be doing during that time. more or less. I don't recommend giving a time schedule, like being like, oh, from 6 to 7, I'm going to do this. But just having a general sense of like, okay, like usually I have breakfast and then I work. For me, like I check my emails and then I go to breakfast. And so my habit is like, okay, like I can't have breakfast until I do my emails, and I may check my emails at 8, I may check it at 9, but no matter when I start it, it's like that's kind of the start to my day. Um, and routines are great because you don't have to question it anymore. You don't have to like some of the unknowns of your day are figured out, and then you can work around it, or you can just ditch it entirely. Like for example, towards the end of my day, I will allocate the rest of my day, like when I have free time, like I just have a giant block after work called free time, like in my head. And in that free time, I have a range of things that I can do, and I just pick something out of the bucket. Sometimes it'll be editing, sometimes it'll be the podcast. I mean, lots of times it's the podcast, and other times it's working on the app that I'm working on. So yeah, like it's kind of nice to just have like a free pool, and in that pool is also friends. Like sometimes like friends will hit me up and be like, hey, do you want to hang out? So yeah, like everything has a routine, but it's not so strict where it feels restricting, if that makes sense. I mean, I feel like it's kind of repetitive, but yeah, I think that's like kind of the goal. To have a routine that just kind of makes you feel like you have some structure, but it's a flexible structure, and you can move things around and it doesn't feel as bad. So, um, yeah, I want to give more advice. I want to keep going, but it is getting late and I didn't eat dinner yet. It's around 11 p.m. I got work tomorrow, and we're talking about things that I need, and I need to eat, and I need to sleep even though I'm not tired. I need to sleep so that I can make sure that the next day I'm ready to work. I don't lose my job and I continue having a job that I love. So yeah, this job is done for now. We're clocking out. Thank you guys for coming. Hopefully, this Yap session was good. You're either asleep or you've learned something at this point. And I appreciate you guys. If you aren't subscribed yet, subscribe so that you can watch the next episode or see more content or both. And I will see you guys in the next podcast.